Hi, welcome back to the second video of part two of the cloud series. Today, well, in this video, I'm going to do some cloud resource, different cloud service models. And we're going to get into a few different things as far as the service models, cloud shared responsibility service models, as well as advanced cloud services, particularly around Azure that we're going to be doing this on. And it's going to actually be just loading up here. Now, different cloud resources and infrastructures require different levels of responsibility for both the user and the cloud service provider, the CSP, right? So this is known as the responsibility model, the shared responsibility model, and allows users to give more responsibility to the provider, right? Depending on what sort of environment that they're looking to build and vice versa. Now, for example, a software development developer may not be interested in a private on-premises infrastructure that requires networking knowledge to build and configure a networking environment. Instead, just be interested in the safe sandbox environment to test code deployments, right? In this case, the platform as a service environment would suit their needs, right? So, and then can leave the networking and the infrastructure responsibility to the cloud service provider. But nonetheless, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to actually explore the infrastructure as a service, IaaS. In this particular case, as I mentioned, Microsoft Azure, which provides the functionality to create virtual machines that a company can use to manage to host its resources and services, for example, like a web server or a database server. Now, this is an example of an infrastructure as a service. So we're actually going to, well, I'm going to create a VM using the Azure portal. Still, just now that I have it open, right, it's automatically logged in for me. So let's take a look at our resource group. There it is here. And I have one here. Okay, perfect. So let's actually, so I have one created for the user that I'm logged in under, which is Carl. So go to this resource group, all right? And I'm actually going to create, right? Actually going to come down here, compute, and I'm going to create a server. Here I'm going to do, okay, we're going to name it. Okay, got the name of our resource group here, as you can see. And under instance details, I have my VM name, right? And while I'm not in the UK, that's the region that I'm using for this particular Azure account. Now, the Azure platform, while it does show to set an availability zone, and it also does the same in AWS, you'll also case that in another video as well. These options I'm going to leave at the default, right? Just because again, everything is relegated to the account I have set up already. So let's take a look here at the image. Yeah, Gen 2, that's fine. Actually, let me take a look here. See, that's the generation. Even though it doesn't support it, I'm still going to apply it here. All right. Do that here. All right, perfect. So we got the confirmed password. Okay, both check marks. That's good. All right, and let's take a look at the size. See all sizes. Never. Okay. Now I do have restrictions on the Azure subscription that I have. Only specific computing sizes can be used for what I'm doing. Now we're creating a virtual machine, right? The correct computing resources need to be allocated to fit its purpose. So different computing sizes will incur different costs concerning the number of resources allocated to the virtual machine. But special care needs to be given to allocating computing resources prevent accruing unnecessary costs for a company. I'm going to use the A series C2 for this exercise. Okay, yeah, we're good here. And I'm going to review and create. Okay, should be validation pass. That's what we're looking for. Perfect. So actually it's going to create since the validation was passed. And I'm going to click on a notification because I'm waiting for the deployment that's currently in progress for the creation of the VM to be complete. Let me check that out. Now, even though it shows it here, I mean, you can either look here or you can look at your notifications while it's running. And I'll place guys on the other side because sometimes when it's brand new and you're creating everything from scratch, it could take up to 10 minutes to complete. But I'll loop you guys back in once it's done here. All right, so the deployment has officially succeeded. So I'm going to actually head over to that. This head over to this is go to resource here, so I'm going to X that out and X out the notifications. So get a bigger window here, right? So now the virtual machine is created, so networking components are automatically provisioned, and these networking components can actually be changed according to the virtual machine, of course, right? So let's actually go to our network settings. And this is just to take a look, right? We have our networking window, right? And I'm actually gonna connect here, right? And let's see, there it is. We have a native RDP, right? All right, and I'm actually going to, there it is. Go to download the file you want to keep and take log. We're gonna open it, of course. Okay, yes. My desktop connection and the password I just created. Yes, of course. Perfect. All right, so now I'm just logging in on a remote, on a virtual machine remotely. All right, now because Windows is configuring for the first time, it may take a few moments for it to log in. Sometimes it can take up to, at least in my, from my personal experience, up to about 5 minutes. But looks like it's moving fairly quickly. Okay. All right, so Windows is actually loaded up, and all of this pretty much populated as soon as Windows was officially loaded. So, and as far as the network, do you want for PC? Yeah, that's fine. All right, and as we can see, instead of Server Manager, I can actually use Azure Arc on the Windows Admin Center that's built into the Azure portal, but I'm actually not going to use that, right? Now, I'm actually going to close the RDP window and close the icon here. I just wanted to showcase to, being able to log in and create a connection as far as infrastructure as a service to be able to remotely log into a virtual desktop and things of that nature, right? So I'm just going to sever the connection here, and that's fine. All right, perfect. So now I'm going to explore platform as a service. So now because the Azure SQL database has a platform as a service model, you really I don't need to focus on the infrastructure or a platform. Instead, I can actually focus on database administration and optimization activities for that are critical for my organization. I'm actually going to excuse me, exit out. Now, the AWS alternative for this is the AWS SQL Server database. I'm actually going to cover that. That's exciting to do that quickly. I'm going to cover that in another video. I cannot wait. I have so much content on or skills that I can showcase, particularly around AWS and the different versions of that, and also extensive skill showcasing on SQL as well. I can't wait. It's going to be so amazing. So nonetheless, what I'm going to do now is just create a simple SQL databases server in Microsoft Azure. So let's actually go back to the main page there. So I'm going to again create a resource, right? And databases should be under SQL. Yeah. All right. Just going to go to my resource group, which is the person I'm logged in under, right? And for the database name, I'm going to do that one here. Server. I don't think I need a server, at least for me to demonstrate here. Let's see. Actually, you know what? Let me create a new one here. Right, and we're going to name it the, and you have to, now, the reason why I included the two random, like the access or release, it appears random, right? The server name must be unique as far in a subscription that I have. And I'm also going to change this as well to RPK. And the authentication method, I need it to be SQL, standard query language, of course. And that. Perfect. And we got the green check mark. Okay, let's proceed. Never. All right, perfect. Okay, so let's go back up here. And let's take a look at our additional settings. And we want to use sample existing data, right? And then review and create, and I'm waiting for the validation to populate for me. Actually, for an SQL database, it actually does it. So that's fine, everything is good. I'm gonna hit create here. And again, same concept as far as the notification for the deployment that I have in progress for the SQL database. I'm actually going to open it up. Once it's completed, I'll put you guys back in so we can proceed with take a look at everything. All right. So naturally, the deployment has succeeded. So let's take a look at what we built. All right. Perfect. So of course, from here, there are some options to further configure, right? And the database that connects to other resources. As we can see, computer storage, a few other things we can do for RESTful testing of the databases, stream analytics, or at least a preview of it, right? And even with security, which I can't wait to get into that. Even with security, auditing, data discovery, dynamic data masking, data encryption, identity and access management, things of that nature. Just so many things you can do whenever you get your database up and running, right? So now we can actually move forward with the next portion of what we're going to do as far as covering advanced cloud services, right? So to further to different service models, right? CSPs, they also offer different types of more advanced services, right? So these emerging technologies, emerging now you're maybe thinking AI, but particularly with cloud, right? Still in some sense an emerging technology, right? It aims to further assist users with multiple things from like data aggregation and collection to fully managed serverless architectures, and even AI and machine learning tools to assist with the collation and processing of data for insights, right? And picture you work right for a home assistant provider like Amazon, right? And you need to aggregate data from millions of different IoT devices across the globe, and all reporting information and telemetry back to your cloud infrastructure. Now, because of the sheer amount and volume of this data, right, it would be highly beneficial to implement AI to help turn that data into usable metrics, right, rather than manually processing and sifting through it. Now, AI is used for this and many more applications in the cloud environments, right? and aims to provide users normally with insights and easily track user trends. So AI can also process images and speech patterns to provide more and more insights, which cascades into more accurate reporting done by the intelligence, right? And there's a differentiation between machine learning and AI here. Now, AI can analyze and produce insights, whereas machine learning, right, it gives users the ability to make decisions based on those same insights. So what I'm going to do now, with all of that being said, is I'm going to investigate some advanced and emerging technologies available in the cloud. So what I'm going to do first is explore some cloud-based IoT resources. Now, of course, IoT, the Internet of Things, it allows a device to be accessible on the internet, and such as a mobile device, for instance, is low-hanging fruit there, right? Now, IoT devices can communicate with each other and gather information that can be used for analysis. Now, there are hundreds of different categories of devices covered under the IoT label, right, or umbrellas, such as like wearable devices like a smartwatch or something like that. Just a smartwatch, I don't know why I did that, but cameras, climate control, you think of a Ring doorbell or something like that. Television, now that it has, of course, Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi enabled Wi-Fi access. Anything pretty much that's outside of a computer that can connect to the internet as well, right? And smart cars and home assistants like Alexis, right? Most modern IoT devices use cloud technologies, right? That they communicate and relay data to the users. So a home assistant, for example, feeds data on user trends to a cloud location for the provider, which in turn is then used to further develop to improve the effectiveness of the assistant on a per user basis. And cloud technologies, right, are better to implement here due to scalability, right? Now the sheer amount of data that a home assistant provider would process through all of these devices simultaneously is massive, right? So which could be an issue, right, if storing the data was done on physical hardware. I think you're talking about massive amounts of data. You're talking you're talking beyond terabytes even, as far as the sheer amount of data. So now let me reopen this, right? So let's actually head over to IoT now that I went on my small rant there. Right, let's actually start to create a few things here. So let's see. Now we're in the basics. So let's take a look at, make sure the resource group goes in here. It's going to be Carl, right? And the name for my hub is going to be my OT hub. Two X's on the end there. UK South. All right, and we're going to create and create. Pretty similar to what we did last time, right? And of course, X this out. And we're going to wait for the deployment again. Building everything from scratch takes a bit of a moment. Then we like for the deployment or any process to go pretty fast, or as fast as we like rather. And so once we take a look there, we're going to obviously take a look at the IoT Hub overview page. And we're going to see some metrics as far as IoT usage, or at least the availability of taking a look at the usage, because it's pretty much going to be a blank slate since this is an account from scratch, so to speak. So I'll loop you guys back in once the progress is complete, so I don't take up too much more of your time. All right, so the deployment has succeeded, of course. Everything we do succeeds. All right, perfect. So now, again, as I mentioned, I'm at the IoT Hub overview page, right? And you can see different metrics, right, for usage as far as the IoT devices, right? The usage, 6 hours, 12 hours a day, 7 days, 30 days. Now, in my case, again, no IoT devices have been connected and configured, so no data is really shown. But let's take a look at a few other things. Let's take a look at devices under device management here. And what this does is, while it's loading, it allows users to link IoT devices to the hub, right? And linking devices allowed, of course, further management to using other hub tools. Right now, once devices are linked, it provides options to roll out the device updates and enable communication and data aggregation, as well as giving anyone a platform to manage connected IoT devices, right? But that was platform as a service as far as Azure is concerned. Now we're going to take a look at exploring serverless architecture. Now, doesn't necessarily always have to doesn't always refer to infrastructure without any physical servers. But data always needs to be stored somewhere, right? So instead of an infrastructure that aims to take the management of general server maintenance and configuration out of the user's hands, we picture a scenario in which a single software developer aims to build an application, right? Now, if they implemented a serverless cloud infrastructure to work from, then they would not need to manually configure and build servers to host their code, but instead have a scalable infrastructure that already runs in the background, freeing up time and resources that would cost your enterprise to build this on-site premises as far as any hardware, right? So it also would cut down on overhead as far as staffing costs, which is ultimately what a business wants to do, right? Mitigate costs as well as rising the value of whatever it is that they're doing. Which may require someone with skills to be brought on board to the project in order to do this effectively, right? Because the developer in the examples that I use may not be a networking specialist, right? Now, serverless architectures, they usually provide a fully managed solution that is on demand or pay as you go. It works the same in AWS as well as Azure, just cloud in general, right? And again, I'll go into this bit more in AWS. I feel as though at least my experience or skills so far go a little bit further in AWS than it does in Azure because AWS is, I'm not saying it's, uh, I'm not sure exactly the vastness of the different capabilities, right, at least yet. But as far as my personal experience with doing different things in AWS is super robust, as robust as you can get when it comes to cloud, at least from me personally that I've seen. But as far as speaking of AWS, I mean, you could talk about AWS Lambda, Azure Functions, Google Cloud Functions, as far as serverless architecture, as far as they go. But what I'm going to do is explore it in a public cloud. So let me actually go back to the IoT Hub overview. Let's see. Right. Actually, you know what? That's in on that. Just let me to get back here. Like, look at the function app, right? And then we're going to create here. Okay. And resource group. Always make sure that's selected. Right. Right. And I'm going to type that one there. Right. And we want this to be six process UK South. Even though I'm not located in UK South, this or wherever you're located, you just want to make sure that you place the right region for where um, your cloud is being hosted, right? You could be, working physically out of Jersey, but your cloud could be located as far as the availability zone in another part of the globe. So wanted to point that out. But yeah, so you would normally in a real world scenario, you would just choose whatever region is necessary for your environment. Long story short. Everything else going to lead as is. Just gonna review and create. Then create again. All right, and of course, we're gonna naturally wait for the deployment to complete. All right, and then we're gonna take a look at the practice lab function XX overview, right? And we're gonna take a look in the functions tab to take a look at what everything looks like there. Now, as we can see, the deployment has officially succeeded, and out of this here. Right, so let me scroll down to our functions, and we're going to actually create it's best to optimize. Before I click on this one for you guys, best optimize for getting started without a local setup, and choose from our function template to pretty much something looking at. So now from this page, right, I can actually select a specific programming language um, to create and develop functions utilizing a serverless architecture, and there's different templates to select from, such as the one I just clicked on, which is the hypertext transfer protocol trigger. Now, this is an example of serverless architecture. If there's no servers for me to manage here directly, everything is handled by Azure. while still providing me with this safe development environment to deploy different code functions here. So actually just gonna close this out. It's gonna, return me back to this overview. And it's also gonna turn me into the end of this video, unfortunately. Just for a brief recap of everything we went over, a few things. We went over cloud shared responsibility models, and we went over advanced cloud services, right? And overall, going over different cloud service models. That was most certainly a lot of fun. I can't wait to get to the next one when we go over cloud resource capacity planning. Can't wait to see you there. Till then, stay curious, stay secure.